Okay, welcome back. Now let's talk about a bit of some politics and focus on what we should be expecting in the next 54 days. And with me in studio, I have got two gentlemen. Moses Muturi, Member of Parliament, aspirant from Mathare constituency, and Adan Mohammed getting it right, from Mandera, who is running for the senatorial position there. Gentlemen, welcome to the studio. Karibu sana. Let me start with you, Said.
Yeah.
How is Mandera to start with?
Mandera is a good place, and devolution has worked to some extent. It's not like before, when we only get, salaries for few teachers and few police officers.
Yeah.
Right now we are receiving good amount of money thanks to the 2010 constitution, and that's developed fund is helping many people.
Yeah.
My challenge, the biggest problem is the misuse of this project, misuse of the money that comes to Mandera. And also, how that money is well catered for and spent across the county. And so we have problem with the leaders that we elected into office.
Yes.
That's why me, myself, a young person, is running to become senator, and so that I can be able to, be able to control that pilferage and the wastage of money that the current administration is currently, undertaking.
I'll get into that.
Yeah.
Could ask you why you want to be the senator of Mandera County.
Yes.
But let's come back home to to Mathare. Kwa akina Bahati, what they say, and then you have got Muturi here. You say that you are how many candidates in Mathare?
We are about 13. But majority of them are not very serious candidates. And I got to tell people that we must be serious when it comes to voting. Let's get the serious people so that we can get our job done. We've got a lot of challenges in Mathare, ranging from insecurity, water shortage problems, and all this. As a candidate, I'm willing to tackle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Muturi, when you talk about the issue of water in Nairobi, most importantly, we are in 2022.
Indeed.
And the city, some of the places in this particular county still lack water. Does that really worry you as an aspirant in Mathare, more specifically? I
get very much worried. We do not need roads if at all we do not have enough water for our Nairobi residents, and Mathare in particular. When you go to Mathare, you only get water two days in a week, and that is when we are very lucky. In most cases, we don't get enough water. As in, we only get once in a week, and this is a very worrying trend because the government doesn't seem to care. It's only the business seems to be building infrastructure in terms of road, but when it comes to water, you find there's no new water pipes being done anywhere in Nairobi, and this is a very big challenge for us as we go into the future. Yeah.
Said,
yes.
Mandera is an arid area.
Yes.
And perhaps the issue of water is also it's common. Is it changing with devolution?
No, there was nothing much that have changed. After, for the last 10 years, over 100 billion Kenya shillings was sent to Mandera County as devolved fund. But devolved fund from National Treasury.
Okay. From the Treasury, because when you talk about the issue of devolution, so many departments were devolved.
Yes.
Talk of health, talk of agriculture, but then at the end of the day, why do you want to be the senator of Mandera County?
Yeah, let me conclude on your previous, the issue of water is very important. Yes. The fact of the matter is over 100 billion Kenya shillings was sent to Mandera County. And apart from, that huge amount of money that came to Mandera County, still people don't have access to clean and safe drinking water. I put this blame on the leaders that we elected into office. And that's why the people of Mandera need to look into the kind of caliber of the leaders that they elect into office. The reason why I'm running for senator is because I looked at, for the last 10 years, what our people have been doing and what the legislators that we elected from that part of the country is doing in terms of, discharging their duties as legislators and fighting for the people that live in those areas. we have a lot of challenges. We have been marginalized before devolution, and even after devolution, our leaders have marginalized us, and they pick their cronies and friends and work with them in cahoot, and and also misusing of public resources. And so I wanted to come in so that I can be able to work for the people of Mandera in an environment of integrity, openness, and honesty. That's why I think when I get into office, I will make sure that the people of Mandera get good leadership here at the Senate, and making sure that pressure is piled on the governor so that he or she can be able to display their duties professionally, with making sure that the money that is sent from National Treasury Exchequer is properly utilized.
Because your work as a senator is actually is auto oversight, so you're right.
Yes.
Muturi, why do you want to be the next legislator of Mathare?
For a number of years, we've been voting as Mathare resident. We've not gotten any development. Right from independence, you ask yourself, Mathare is in Nairobi, and yet we've been having representatives, yet we do not get the necessary development. Where I'm willing, I'll not go there to steal like they've done before.
Yes.
I'm there to protect the interests of our people, the residents of that place. I'll therefore make sure every penny is put into proper use. The other thing is, there are so many projects that can be done in Mathare. I am willing and I'm ready, and I know how to go about it to make sure that all these things that are necessary are done. I have stated issues like security. Security is a very big problem in Mathare, right from since independence. You wonder why in Nairobi, yet these other places are well protected, but my people have been left in terms of being protected. Go to issues of drugs. There is a very high drug usage in Mathare, and you wonder why the government doesn't seem to care or doesn't seem to know that the issues of drugs are very high there. Then from there we got issues of healthcare, where you want the most neglected people in this part of the city. They are the Mathare resident. You leave that, you talk of education. You go, you look for the most population that is has a greatest number of dropouts. It's in Mathare. You talk of jobs. Mathare, their share in terms of jobs opportunities, I do not know where they go. I mean, you talk of anything, any problem that is in this Nairobi.
But you see what's it's quite amazing is that each and every electioneering period, politicians speak of the same thing: job, security, healthcare, education. We mind about the youth, vijana. That is the same narrative each and every electioneering period. At what point will we ever see the end to this one? Starting with you, Mohammed.
Yeah, these are big challenges. We have been complaining about, the people we elect into office for so long.
Yes.
And I think the problem is starts with us, the voters. We don't look at, we don't listen to the leaders. Most of us have already decided, for example, in the area where I come from, people vote based on tribal line. They don't interrogate leaders and understand what this leader really stands for. When you don't do that, and your option is to vote based on the clan that your leader come from, then you will get a substandard leaders who don't perform well in their duties, and that's why we Kenyans lag behind. We don't produce quality leadership because we take bribe as vote. In other scenarios, we vote based on our tribal line. Those are those are two critical issues that's really affecting us, and I think the problem is that with us, the voters, and we need to look, people we elect critically so that we can be able to vote for leaders who actually go and do a great thing on our behalf. People who think about our welfare as the people and as Kenyans.
Absolutely. Muturi, everybody right now, almost all the politicians are talking about the economy.
Yeah.
Just hours ago, a liter of petrol shot 260 shillings. That's the highest in the Kenyan history.
Indeed.
How does that really worry you as a politician, as an aspirant, and most importantly, as a Kenyan?
Very much. And I would say this. this government went into a borrowing spree. We've been doing projects with the other people's money, and most of those projects do not have a direct impact on ordinary mwananchi.
Really? They do have. The president said that you can only borrow when you want to have
in the short term.
Yes.
When you talk of in short term, like now we did the SGR, it's costed a lot of money.
SGR is a long time. I'm so sure right now Mohammed can drive all the way from Nairobi to Mandera. Right?
The returns are not immediate.
Not like before yet.
So those are long-term projects.
They are long-term projects, very right.
Yes.
But we got to live within our means. We overborrowed. Some of the money was spent badly.
Yes.
You know, some went to the individual pockets, and this is across board. All this routing that is happening, it's happening on borrowed money. If there was a very serious leadership, obviously this steering would not be happening. That money would have gone into proper use. And again, even those projects, there are projects that can be delayed. You see?
Yes.
Like now, I was talking about SGR. As far as I'm concerned, maybe when you get SGR all the way from Mombasa to Naivasha and not proceed up to Busia, you've not helped Kenyans. I thought the idea should have been to target our exporters, to target the DRC, the Uganda, the Southern Sudan. All those should have been the target, so that they can have their goods through Kenya to their market. But what we did, we brought it to Naivasha. In a short term, obviously, there is no direct impact to ordinary mwananchi over here.
Perhaps right now it might not seem like there's a direct impact on the common mwananchi, but in the long run, we will see the impact probably.
Definitely we will.
Yes.
For me, I have a divergent view from my brother here.
Yes, go ahead.
Of course, the issue of fuel price hike is affecting many Kenyans. The cost of goods is currently we cannot go to supermarket and buy few stuff as as Kenyans because it is too expensive. And many people are suffering because of these, increased prices of fuel. Number one reason why this thing is, affecting us is because number one, we as Kenyans, we didn't put, a contingency plan in place to have enough, fuel reserve. Because the issue also that's affecting globally, the Russia issues also affecting, the fuel price. We should have had a contingency plan where we had enough reserve of fuel in place, and we will have predicted well in advance before this problem have happened. You can imagine in the area where I come from, if the fuel price is currently 159, taking it to Mandera is so expensive, and the people over there are more, the damage to them is way beyond anybody's imaginations. If we in the city are crying, there the price, I'm sure by now, is 170 if you go and look into the market retail prices in Mandera. So I think we need to figure out a way of subsidizing this as government. The government need to look into this critically and be able to come up with a plan as soon as possible so that the Kenyans can be saved from these harsh realities of economic challenges. Yes.
Let me say this.
Because the issue of economy is most, when you talk of Deputy President William Ruto talk about economy, Honorable Odinga talking about economy, but for how long are we going to talk about economy if there is no immediate action taken?
You see,
Muturi.
it all boils to leadership. As long as we have bad leadership right from the top, and again, when it comes to parliament, they are not doing their roles as they are supposed to, then we end up with the kind of challenge that we are having. You see, I said that we overborrowed. Yes, we did. And that's why we cannot be able to subsidize that oil that we are talking about. We can't have enough reserve, as you are saying. It's not possible to have enough reserve for the whole year. All what should be done maybe is to have some subsidy to cater for that. But where do we get this money? We overborrowed. We can't do it right now. That's why you can see the government is just silent, can't do anything. If they are to get money, again they have to borrow again. All this should have been catered for like 2 or 3 years ago. You see, whenever government has enough money within its reserves, then you are assured whenever there are those shocks, then it can be able to handle.
Yeah.
But now you tell the government to try to handle oil prices challenge, they will not. And obviously, if they do, they will have to borrow. It all boils to leadership. I may say that.
Devolution. Let me talk about devolution, because when you talk about devolution, perhaps you are going to get into it if you get elected. That is, most of the governors and senators and members of parliament learned through their job in their different parts of jurisdiction. But then, how is Mandera paint for me a picture to somebody who doesn't understand how devolution has changed or has not changed the face of Mandera County?
Devolution has worked in Mandera to some extent. Yes, there was a lot of investment that was done in the area of, health. Hospitals, now people can be able to access, at least in major towns, good and quality health care. Education, at least there was subsidy in terms of bursary. People can have, the student from Mandera can get, bursaries to go to universities and also go to good high schools in Mandera. Yes. And also, if you look at the towns, there was a little bit of infrastructure that was done in terms of better roads for the people of Mandera within towns. But still, we lack, major infrastructure like connecting major highways between major towns in Mandera that needs a lot of goodwill from national government. And that's number one thing that we really need to work with national government, so that these interlinking major roads can be built, so that people can be able to do business with the neighboring counties, with neighboring countries of Ethiopia and Somalia. To some extent, there was a huge, a lot of corruption that happened within the county government that hindered, the progress of devolution. Leaders that we elected into office, there was a lot of, if you look at the books of account for the Mandera County, there was a lot of pilferage, there was a lot of wastages, there was a lot of white, elephant projects that was done that currently don't help the people of Mandera. The issue of water is still a big challenge. People don't have access to clean water. And the development, in modern agriculture and also modern livestock production was also not done very well. The people of Mandera, up to 90% live, their main income is from livestock. And when you see this kind of prolonged dry spell that's currently being exacerbated by climate change, and their only source of income is being washed away into despair, I think there was a lot of challenge with regard to livestock farming, and the county government need to think about how to, do a zero grazing kind of farming for our livestock, so that the people can be able to at least lessen that burden of climate change and the prolonged dry spell that's being currently felt across the county.
Yes.
Yes.
And Muturi, when you talk about Mathare, the issue of insecurity is one of the biggest threats to the area residents. How will you handle that?
Well, one approach is to ensure that we put this street lighting. The we had Margaret Wajiro, and she did several writing projects over there, and then we had a decreased crime rate. Well, it's my intention to make sure that we get proper writing in Mathare. That is one. The other two, we need a very good coordinated approach, that is to have political leadership come together with educational leaders in terms of and also having the administration, the formerly provincial administration coming into the table. We all discuss and agree on the way forward. You see, when it comes to education, these kids that drop out from school are the same that goes into the crime.
Yeah.
When it comes to involving chiefs, you realize that every chief knows the criminals within his area. Again, by involving them, we will be able to solve this challenge by ensuring that no criminals is able to come to our places without knowing. And again, police, when it comes to police, they all need to be given that morale to work closely together with them. And by doing this, we will be boosting their morale. They will be able to work within that area, knowing that the political leadership is behind them. By working with the MCAs and even the top leadership, we will be able to improve the level of security in our area.
Absolutely.
And again, by giving them jobs, by creating job opportunities, and again, trying to handle all those issues, you find that they are all interconnected. You handle the issue of jobs, you get to realize that you are handling the issue of insecurity. Yeah.
Let me talk about the issue of the gender card. Most of the candidates here, Mohammed, most of the governors have got female running mates. Have we gotten it right as a nation right now? Because if you look across board, you'll see that most of the candidates, the governors, the senators, and what have you, women are taking center stage in terms of leadership. Have we gotten it right this time around, or are we coming late into the game?
I'm very much happy about the way our women have realized that, taking position of power is important to fight for the right of, women, and also women are good leaders and they're very kind and they can also be able to do good job. And that's why we need to give women opportunity. I'm so much excited about the fact that so many people are taking positions of power and throwing themselves in the race, and making sure that they do good campaign, and many women this time are projected to win elections, and that's we are heading we are heading good direction as a country. And even though the area of that's been marginalized for so long, like the whole of northern counties, if you look at it, the socio-economic level is below the national average for those counties, and women literacy level is about 40 to 45% compared to 90% of national average. So if you look at that area, still we lag so much behind. Our women are not so much empowered to throw themselves in the race and find themselves a space in politics, but we are crawling. We are getting there.
What's your thoughts about that, Muturi?
We are progressing very well as a country, and even Mathare. But we're talking about Mathare because the area that I'm in is that still we lag behind when it comes to issues of women, and it's an issue that requires seriousness in terms of pushing our girls. You see, you see all these things begins from childhood. Our girls are protected and even well taken care of in Mathare. I would say no, and like our boys. And you progress up to high school and even universities. There is a very high dropout rate of our girls, and like those are the areas. If these things were to be tackled, obviously our numbers would rise, and even the ladies that would go into politics would also increase from areas, and especially the slums like Mathare and Kibera, I think so.
Because I'm trying to imagine here that the effect of having women in leadership will actually open more doors to the women to battle it out with the ladies out there and the women out there. Because when you look at the 2/3 gender rule, most of the appointing positions, women are still not getting it right.
They are not getting it.
But even as this parliament they've gone on a recess, an indefinite recess, it's still hanging in parliament.
Yeah,
what will you do, for example, if you get elected to make sure the 2/3 gender rule is effected?
Well, immediately we get to parliament, if I will. I'll ensure that the bill that has been lying idle there, I'll mobilize all the other parliamentarians. We ensure that bills get to see the light of the day. Because I don't see why they never give it the seriousness that it deserves.
Some would argue that men are afraid of women leadership taking
Not at all. Women are the cornerstone of this country. And obviously having them even more will help this country a great lot. You talk of women in leadership, even in all areas of this economy, they are doing good. And like our men counterparts, whom you find them steering and engaging in all manner of things. Women cares, let me say so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me get your voice on that, Mohammed.
It's important. This is important constitutional matter, and that bill has to be passed no matter what. No matter what, that bill has to be passed. When the next government comes in power, that two-third gender rule that's lying in Parliament has to pass, so that women have their rightful place, you know, in making laws for us as legislators. Right. Yes.
Allow me to ask you this question in particular. Most of the counties have this issue called negotiated democracy. Does it happen in Mandera County?
It started in Mandera County.
It started in Mandera County?
Yes.
Oh. Does it happen? It started in Mandera County?
Yes.
What is for somebody who doesn't understand what is negotiated democracy, does it happen today?
Yes, it happens today. Negotiated democracy in Mandera County, many other counties copied from Mandera. And why they did that is because in 2013, negotiated democracy was a success. The first county administration that came in power was all elected through negotiated democracy. There was no single MCA that was picked by the elders who lost the election. The governor won, the senator won, all the MPs from that county won based on negotiated democracy, and it was like no opposition to it. Our clan elders, for example, the area where I come from, the Garri community, sat together, like 20 of them, and decided to pick from each clan members who represent. Those who will not get governor will get some, at least representation, as get some of their, you know, leaders who are running for MCAs will be selected. And some MPs were selected from different clans. And that's how it worked. But then later it backfired. The people who were elected in 2017 now revolted against the negotiated democracy. And they decided, because ideally it was only a one-term scenario where you serve for 5 years, give it to your other brother from the other clan.
Then you get into that
position. And like when you test power, and this is Africa, you understand? The governor himself refused and used all, you know, his power and resources to fight negotiated democracy. I'm surprised today he's preaching again the aspect of negotiated democracy, because he also wants to become senator. And again he wants to use it. But in 2017 they revolted, all of them. And some won. You know, negotiated democracy was cut in half. Others won who opposed negotiated democracy. And currently it's almost dead. It's almost at the, you know, deathbed. But there was still some negotiations being done among elders of different clans to front MCAs, to front members of parliament.
Now we're talking about negotiated democracy. Muturi is looking at you like, can that happen in Mathare?
It can.
No.
Because
that can never happen in Mathare,
but because,
or even in Nairobi, to be particular.
Not in you know, in certain countries, because as you said that it started in Mandera County.
But the detriment to this aspect of negotiated democracy, I'm not for it personally. Because leaders sit down and select a person who might not have, you know, a caliber to lead, who might not have, you know, the mindset, who might not have, you know, even invention to become a leader. This is a calling. They just select someone because his father is somewhere known, because he has a name, and they pick this person to lead. And eventually what happens? The person just go and sleeps in parliament. He doesn't do anything. That's why when you see we don't have people who can speak for the people of Mandera in parliament. Like this 12th parliament, right? Yes. The 12th parliament, we did not produce leaders who, you know, come up with serious bills that change the face of Kenya. We want leaders who think, who do research, who comes up with an idea that helps not only Mandera, but the whole country at large. And that's why I am not for negotiated democracy, and I'm also running against it.
I'll still come back to that, because there's a lot more to discuss on that. But Muturi, Mathare, like, wazee waende ukachini somewhere, like, where you can imagine the amount of money people put on campaigns, the merchandise, the advertisements, the campaign T-shirts and whatever. There's so much to be it's quite involving, so to speak.
Indeed.
But look at it this way. Is this something that we can copy?
No, that one I'm against it. And again, I don't think it should happen anywhere in modern Kenya. Whenever that happens, obviously there is some corruption that has gone behind the doors. Obviously,
what about that you're picked because your dad was, your father was a senior chief somewhere?
That must be the case.
Your family have a name.
You see, obviously, in modern politics, even the money factor must be huge. You know that, and I don't think that is there is anything to borrow from them. They should change from that and probably adopt our way. The way we do it here in the city.
I'm not for it.
But then in some counties, yes, it works for them, depending on how it's run. If it's run pretty well, then it works as negotiated democracy and an open democracy. Like the way we are going for an election right now, you're free to pick whichever candidate you'd want to pick.
Indeed.
But then, gentlemen, allow me to take a break. And when we come back, I want us to talk more a myriad of issues, but when we come back after this particular break, I have got two gentlemen who are aspiring to be legislators in the next parliament. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back. Now to still having that discussion with the two gentlemen here who are aspiring to be members of parliament as well as Senate in the next coming, in the upcoming election. They're just giving us, an overview of what you should expect. But gentlemen, let me talk about the issue of corruption that is dotting this country. And Muturi, does it really pain you that the president said that each and every day Kenya loses almost 2 billion shillings?
Well, it pains me much. And I say that he's the man in charge who should be leading in the war against this corruption. When he says, when he goes out and lament over that issue, then you feel hopeless over that issue in general, but you also feel determined to go to that parliament so that we can try to change these issues. Where it cannot continue, because at some point, this country will collapse if those things will not be addressed. Obviously, at that level of losing 2 billion a day, maybe today we are talking of 3 billion, because that was some times back. Meaning, in a very near future, we may not be able to do anything as a country. And this needs to be stopped. These are some of the motivations that give us the morale to go to put ourselves into the race. Yeah.
Mohammed.
Yes, corruption is #1 cancer that is really affecting us as a country. And I'm sorry to say, it's very much painful when the president comes out and tell us that there is, that much of money that's been looted. It's very painful as a country. And we should have zero tolerance in our government system, from executive, legislators and judiciary. My problem is with judiciary. You see, when DCI do their job and somebody, for example, is barred from contesting an election because he was found to be culpable of the issue related to corruption, but then the court, somebody just go and do an appeal, and the court says no, this person should vie again. So the problem with us is is unlimited when it comes to fighting corruption. We need to look at the 360 degrees of how to handle this. Somebody who has ever associated with corruption should never come close to public office. And I think that's where we need to begin. And Baba Raila Odinga have already stated in his manifesto that in his government there will be zero tolerance for corruption. And me vying on OPIA ticket and the Azimio La Umoja coalition, I believe when his government comes in power, there will be, some level of, fight, towards corruption that may see as, that reality of people even avoiding it because of the punitive consequences that comes with engaging in that aspect of corruption.
I asked Moses the issue of insecurity in Mathare, but let me also come back to you, and because I'm also seeing that from social media, somebody asking that Mandera County lies on the north, and matters of insecurity and insurgency is quite rampant in that particular area. How will you change that, the incidents of insecurity in northern part, specifically Mandera County?
I think the reason why we had a lot of, banditry and insurgency in Mandera County is because of our military operation also in Mandera County, I mean in Somalia, with working with AMISOM, and because some of these, people feel like they have the right to come and be able to invade our country, and the government need to put serious investment in border patrols. And control within Mandera and the whole of the stretch of northern counties. And the police officers have to be properly armed, because currently I can see our police officers who are not well armed, and they have to have sophisticated weapon that they can be able to track these people coming into our borders easily. I think there's a lot of logistical input that need to be done, because that's difficult terrain. The roads are really terrible and in bad condition, and police officers have to chase these people whenever such operations of insurgency happens. And so I think in the next gap we should find a way of working with Somali government, having a better diplomatic relationship, so that we can also be able to, they can also be able to, put their police officers across, that border and be able to work together as a country. And also on the other side of Ethiopia, there was a lot of, infiltration of bandits from that side. These countries working together, in an environment of mutual respect and mutual understanding will somehow uplift the insecurity situation in those areas. Yes.
All right, gentlemen, you're all vying for different positions. Let me come back home and get specifically to you now. You get elected, you have the powers, you've been sworn in. Give me your first 90 days. Not even 100 in office.
Okay. In the first 90 days, the first thing we'll do is do a cleanup, have a cleanup exercise of the area. The area, the tunnels needs to be cleaned. They are full of garbage. The area is very dirty. Then from that issue, we have another issue of addressing insecurity, and we have enough police in the Mathare area. What we need is to support them. And the kind of support we will do is having a meeting with the leadership of police, having a meeting with the leadership of the chiefs, having a leadership with the educational leaders, and with that we'll be able to give them motivation that they require to begin the work. Then the third thing is we need to put right within the next, you've talked of how many days?
90 days.
90 days.
Right, that is 3 months.
That's enough. There is a lot of goodwill from private investors. I'm very sure immediately we get into power, I'll get these people because they are ready. They can put up street lighting in Mathare. Therefore, within the 30 days, we will be in a position to say that our streets are getting right. The other thing is trying to open up those areas. There are areas that are very congested with people, with narrow streets, with the people putting some businesses on the road, where we will have them relocate from the roadsides, so that in case of emergencies, you find getting to Mathare becomes a very big challenge. That one we resort.
All right.
And again, we've got issues of water. There is a lot of water leakages in Mathare, and that can be fixed within that limit of time. And again, there is also the sewerage system. this should be done immediately, because you find so many diseases affecting our people, and it's out of that kind of sewage leaking, overflowing on the roads. That can be done, and again, doesn't require a lot of resources. That one, I'll make sure it's done. Yeah.
Great enough. That's good enough.
Yes.
Mohammed, 90 days, you've been sworn in and you have the reins of power as a senator.
Yes, that will be amazing. I hope that will happen. If that happens, definitely I will sit down with the rest of the senators and work on division of revenue bill that should be taken from current 15 to 35, as many of these presidential contenders are proposing. If it reaches 35% of the national revenue collected, then most of the counties will get good amount of money to be able to handle their functions. And what I will work on closely with the rest of the senators to see that this money division of revenue between national and county government is well beyond 35%. I will also do a framework with my governor from Mandera County and also the rest of other governors, because my job is not only to look after Mandera County. As the senator, I have to also look at the way other governors spend their money across 47 counties. So we'll have to have a framework of looking, doing a better and professional oversight for these counties, so that there will be no wastage of money that's currently been, there's a lot of wastage, throughout these 10 years. We must make sure that there is a good policy in place coming from the Senate and disseminated to the counties, so that these people have a better working and acts of parliament that they can be able to use to be able to use finances that they were given prudently, and be able to submit this report to the senators, so that we can be able to have a clear view of what is being spent and how each and every counties have performed. Yes,
I'll come back to you shortly, but the issue of early child marriages in the slum areas is an issue. Insecurity is an issue. How will you tackle this long term? Because in about 30 days, that might not be enough to handle that. So that we have these young kids attend school, because it's now free, and the government is talking about 100% transition to schools.
Indeed.
How will you handle this so that you make sure that each and every morning, every student is in school?
By working with the chiefs, I'll be able to make sure immediately we get into power, we ensure that all the children that are supposed to be in school are taken back to school. Because in most cases, these children drop early. And that's why that ends up in early pregnancies and so forth. Well, that is one thing. The second thing is there is a lot of poverty in Mathare. And most of our people are in business. By making sure that we light up the area, by ensuring that our business are thriving. Then the second thing is by making sure that we put our people into circles, they're able to access funding. There will be funding for the youth. Obviously, I'll make sure that our youth get access to that funds, so that once they got that financial muscle, obviously those children will be fed and they will be able to go to school without those much challenges. Once they're in the school, obviously they will be able to go all the way to completing even high school.
Right. And
let me say this, the big issue is poverty in Mathare and all the other slum areas. You tackle the issue of poverty, you've given the much morale that they need to proceed. Otherwise, these girls do not drop out of will. It's because of the level of poverty in their homes. If a child didn't get a meal last night, there's no way you can convince that child to go to school today. Obviously, by empowering their mothers, their fathers, their relatives, you are giving them the much needed support. The other thing is, when it comes to girls, they need these sanitary pads. And providing them doesn't require a lot. That one, I promise, I will make sure that is available. And again, there is a lot of support that within private communities. They are ready and willing to support us. It's only that they do not want politics that goes with that issue. You see, so many people out there, they are willing, but they do not want to be engaged in politics of it. So that's another issue that I'll be able to tackle.
All right.
By tackling insecurity, again, you are enabling them to go to school. I mean, all these things, they are intertwined together. Yeah,
they're connected. You know, Northeastern still is more of a nomadic area, and most of this, the problem of insecurity can affect so many things there. How will you handle the issue of education in that particular area, so that each and every girl child or boy child get education in Northeastern, more so in Mandera, and just to change the face of that particular county?
Of course, the literacy level in Northeastern is well below average compared to the national average, and because when so many people are not, informed about the importance of education, then there is a laxity that comes with it. There is an issue that need to be addressed, and the county government, also in consultation with the national government, should have to do a lot of education for adults, so that they can be able to take their children to school. And that is where we begin. People have to understand what an educated person can do, and the importance related to that. Of course, the issue of insecurity has made many not go to school because they are afraid for their lives. And many teachers have also withdrawn from that area for the same reason. And it is the obligation of the national government to provide enough security. It is by right that the people of Mandera get enough security, so that children can be able to go to school without being afraid for their lives. So, like I said before when I was talking about the issue of security, there is need for serious investment in our police officers, so that they can be able to provide for the people the much needed security in those areas, and people can be able to go to school.
Yes. How is the campaigns, for example, the issue of changing the mindset and getting the right leaders, apart from the handouts, because that's what's affecting most of the politicians who say we are being elected because we bought, we gave them the money. How will you change the mindset, or even as we move forward, so that we make sure that Kenyans get the right leaders who deserve to be in those positions?
Okay. I agree that the issue of money is playing a role in Mathare politics because of the level of poverty, but that will not help. I'm engaging from door to door, trying to talk to these people about these issues. These are issues that have bedeviled them since 70s. If at all these issues were faced our mothers and our grandmothers, and now they are facing us, where
we should be worried.
At some point we must change.
Yes.
Okay, and I must say this, we are doing well. By engaging them direct, you are able to understand the issues that needs to be tackled. They've got a lot of issues. And once you engage them one-on-one, you are able to understand them. They see you as part of them, and they are able to relate with the problems that you'll be talking about. And that has helped me a lot. I say I'm doing very good in that. Yeah.
What about you, Mohammed? Because we have to change the whole of this game all over, once and for all, so that you don't get worried that somebody so-and-so is going to get elected because he dished out money. Now that you are capable, but because you're not well-oiled, you not get the position.
This is a serious challenge, definitely. And the people of Kenya tend to forget a lot. It's just the other day that we are crying about how monies of COVID was stolen, how many things went wrong, and people are swearing on Twitter that they will never again vote for leaders, who are not proven, who don't show that quality of leadership in public. And yet again, when the time for election comes, we take bribe and vote, based on our tribal lines.
Yes.
This is a serious issue that has been affecting us for so long. We need to think about it as a country and as the people of Kenya, and make sure that we don't take bribe to vote for any leader. We have to listen to leaders, and we have to interrogate, listen to them, and make sure that when we vote, when we go to that polling booth and deciding to vote, we have to know that this person, I'm voting for him because he can do A, B, C, D for me at the The work of government
Yes.
is common good. The work of a legislator is to provide common good, not for my personal gain, but he can be able to address the issue of water, but he can be able to address the issue of healthcare, the issue of education. He can be able to address the issue of food security and the cost of living. So when a voter is well informed and that integrity of the vote is also very important. But our voters currently are taking money and they are voting on tribal, and very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Yes. All right, gentlemen, I'm told that we are running out of time, but I'll give you 1 minute each so that you can talk to your area residents. Starting with you, Muturi, that is your camera. Talk to Mathare people. They're watching. Talk to them in 1 minute.
Hello, viewer. I'm happy to be here. Let me talk to you. You as a Mathare voter, a time has come when we must change the direction of our politics in our constituency. I'm vying on Usawa Wote ticket. I'm very much willing. You know these challenges. I was born in Mathare. I have lived in Mathare all the way through. I know your challenges. Your challenges are my challenges, and I'm willing to tackle them. Let's not make a mistake of previous. Let's vote for a good candidate, a right candidate, a candidate with the ability to do all what he promises. That's me. Asante sana.
Very well. 1 minute. That's a good one. Yes, go ahead.
I don't know if I will cover it in 1 minute. Thank you so much, my beloved people of Mandera. Asante sana. I'm happy today to talk to you. My name is Said Adan. I'm running for Mandera County Senator on UPIA Party and the Azimio la Umoja Coalition. And we have to know that our number one problem, the sooner we realize that our number one problem is the kind of leaders that we elect into office, the better we'll all off. And so look at it very critically. Where is the billions that was sent to Mandera? Have you seen any major life-changing project undertaken by our county government? Do our hospital have enough medical professionals and medicines? Do our mothers have access to clean and safe drinking water? And so if the answer to these questions are no, you have a leader who can be able to work on your behalf at the Senate, who will make sure that you have access to these basic necessities. And I will make sure I will not sleep at night without making sure that you have access to clean and safe drinking water, access to quality health, access to quality education, and healthy food. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Thank you so much. Yes. Gentlemen, remember that the pledges that you make to your voters, they will hold you to account at some point.
Yeah.
All right? So make sure that when you go there, if you get elected, you deliver, because it's service to the people. Because at the end of the day, you're the voice of the people. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. That was Moses Muturi and Usawa Wote, Member of Parliament aspiring there in Mathare, and Said Adan and Usawa UPIA Party running for Senate seat in Mandera County. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, and gentlemen, thank you also for coming over, and even you being a good viewer.